All right, call the meeting of the Dauphin County Redevelopment order. Everybody's here. Quorum, vacancies, public participation. Okay, approval of minutes from February 13th.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, we need executive session. Financial review. And we have February and March. We have a full financial review that was sent out to everybody earlier for review, and we have checks to ratify. Any questions on the financial report? Is there a motion to approve the financials and to ratify checks?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, new business. Just like in Land Bank, we have the authorization of Autumn as our signer on our.
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
She's going to stamp my parking now.
She can write you a check. All right. The under new business, we have the Susquehanna Area Regional Airport Authority and the assignment of their National Site Beach Program grant to the Redevelopment Authority. This, recall at our last meeting, we talked about the project that's going on the south side of the airport, the old Crawford Station, which I believe is either fully or pretty much Middletown Borough. It's an old coal-fired power plant that was there decades ago. Since been knocked down. There's still issues with the site in terms of different cleanup that needs to go on. So Sarah had pulled together, they have a consultant, they pulled together some grants, and then they pulled the redevelopment authority and have discussions about the EPA money we have, and just see all this, start to get some resources in. During that conversation, it was actually the State Department of Community and Economic Development and the consultants that started suggesting that there are more dollars that can be obtained by the redevelopment authority than Sarah is eligible for. But it all starts with this natural site use grant state program. So it's already in place. It's already been approved, contracted with Sarah. And what suggested is that it shift to development authority management in our partnership with with the airport authority. We can not just be a conduit, but fully participate between Sarah and County and what happened at this site. So that's what this assignment would begin. Sign to us, which we have significant capabilities in, and work with Sarah to get that money deployed.
So it just be the grant agreement, or
It's just a
would we
grant.
transfer the properties?
It's just the grant agreement. So this properties are not. There's no suggestion to transfer the properties to us. It's just we're just a funding partner and a project. So now the airport authority has brought us in, wants us to work with them on obtaining additional funds and helping them bring this site back into suburbs. They've not they've gone through their study. I don't think they've declared what the usage. It's going to be a use that as part of the airport.
Yeah.
Could be anything from additional warehousing space, or they of course have DHL and FedEx.
Mhm.
Yeah, so at that kind of capacity, they're looking at all those kind of options of what they can do with the space. The land has to be cleaned up first.
All right. So the properties are all owned by Sarah.
Yeah. Yep.
And
They would be tax exempt properties, though.
I don't know if
I
they
don't
would
know
pilot.
about that. I think when like a FedEx or something comes in, they're paying taxes on those properties. You're not bypassing property
Think
taxes.
so.
hope so.
Yeah.
Well,
We
are
can
they
confirm,
subject
we
to
can confirm
stormwater?
that, Frank, but
Are they subject to stormwater taxation or fees?
That's an interesting question. There's ongoing litigation. Yeah, so,
it's in Middletown Borough, which does not have,
oh, there you go.
Oh,
so,
Answers that.
yeah. And if the borough brought one in, I guess it, yeah, that would be whatever issue that comes into that. It is right on the river. Right there is, that's all that comes together, so. Are there any questions? I think it's a great park. And it's just a position where it should exist. You know, these kinds of projects. You know, that's the old Baldwin corridor. There's KIZ components through that corridor. So, yeah, there's been a long time effort to develop site across the Steelton, you know, the city, all the way down to the Middletown Borough. All right, so if there's no questions or a motion to approve the assignment agreement.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
So it's transfer real estate. The second page is transfer. Is that part of the same motion?
No,
This
no. This is
Okay.
just, yeah, that's a separate topic. The transfer, it's separate. Yeah, this is just the industrial site use. All right, it's been moved in second. Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Kevin, I'll turn it to you on the transfer of real estate. Now, this goes back many, many years of discussions on the different parcels that the Development Authority owns.
Yeah, so for the past, when Doug was here, he had identified the remaining quote unquote orphan parcels still on the books by the Redevelopment Authority. The history of this is the intention was when these properties were transferred out of the Redevelopment Authority after they acquired Agnes, that these parcels should have been transferred at that time to who the new owners were that either purchased or acquired the properties in some fashion from the Redevelopment Authority. For whatever reason, there were these orphan parcels that were intended to be transferred at that time, but for whatever reason, the deeds never got. So we've notified all of the owners on this list. Doug had gone through and identified who he thought were the appropriate adjacent property owners that the parcels go with, essentially. There are two that we're going to table today. One of them is 405 Frederick Street in Stilton, and the other one is 57 South 2nd Street in Stilton. Those two property owners have got in touch with us. One gentleman came here earlier, Gary Smith. We need to have some more conversations with him about whether he is in fact the right, if he is the correct parcel or transfer.
You said 7,
It's 350.
53.
Yeah, I have 353 South
Yeah, I have
Second.
3.
Yeah.
Gary Smith,
Yeah.
405 Frederick Street.
Yes.
Right.
So we need to have more conversations with Gary Smith, and then the owner at 405 Frederick Street has changed hands, since we sent out the notice we intended to do this. So we'll be bringing both of those back. There are 3 remaining parcels that we're still trying to get correct legal descriptions for. So once we obtain the correct legal descriptions, then we'll be bringing those to your attention as well. So other than 353 South 2nd, 5, you'll be able to make a motion to transfer, authorize the transfer this to the T's. You'll see that there's a number of parcels that actually are owned in everything but at the Quarter B's office by Borough Steel. So we're just formalizing that transfer to the boroughs as well.
From the RDA.
Correct.
I think I'm, you know, in the review of, these are not overly marked.
No, they're
Some
yeah,
of them
they're-
are landlocked, some
right.
of them are, it's,
some are very small slivers that I don't even know how they would have remained.
these are like remnants of sort of Agnes acquisitions that it feels like a lot of it just got lost in decades, you know, since Agnes and just weren't disposed of probably properly decades ago when they probably should have. So, but there was a lot of work because these parcels, some crazy, some of them have some
Yeah,
difficult deep issues.
right. It was difficult finding legals, just because, you know, if you think about it, when Ag was happening and kind of the Redevelopment Authority came into fruition, there were probably thousands of, and things just didn't always get done, you know, in the best order. So.
Okay. Questions on these? It's starts to
Get the thing on these for stormwater.
We were getting notices from Steelton,
yeah.
and
We had it from Highspire on until I addressed that with Highspire. Figure out what to do with it.
and we made Steelton aware of what our, so,
You can see how many of these are going to the borough,
correct.
which in some cases they're utilizing.
Well, yeah, a lot of them, they are currently, and then building. Yeah, and as far as the stormwater issue, you know, as an authority, I think that's up in the air with this Westchester case, so potentially.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I don't think we have any intention to pay those.
Yeah, there's one in Township. Not to get off topic here, but it's a parcel of the new Bartan project that you know is county owned.
Hmm.
That's something transferred over, and George kept getting bills for stormwater payments. You remember that, Deb?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you collecting some of the stormwater bills that we're getting.
Yep.
The one in Susquehanna is what I'm talking about.
So, yeah, I just got
No
another
idea
slew
how
of them.
that got from this own.
Yeah, I don't know. I just got another slew of them from Susquehanna Township.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Now, you do my part.
Yeah, that's not positive, Frank.
You can take the property.
Don't want it. Different topic. Different.
Yeah, so this isn't all of our properties. There are some marketable things over time that people have some interest in. But again, not a market, but could be valuable to something that has adjoining properties. So, all right, any other questions on these parcels? If not, is there a motion to transfer real estate on the items that are listed except for 405 Frederick Street and 353 South 2nd Street in High School.
Motion.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Staff reports. Home repairs.
So we're moving forward with that. Gem Group has last week did 7 visits with subcontractors, which take about 2 weeks until they get some estimates back. And then they will go back and talk with the homeowners, review the scope of work, and get under contract with them. We as a Redevelopment Authority are under contract with the homeowner, but then it's also required that the contract sign it. I'm working on the quarterly report now. We've expended about $248,000 with the projects that GEM is doing. We've committed approximately $785,000. Now, that is based on the $50,000 cap. So that could possibly, as the scopes of work come back, decrease a little bit. But
Okay, so if they come in under budget, they can redeploy. Any funds.
yes, yep, it'll get recycled.
Okay. Great. Nice work on. That's a big act.
Yeah, I'm also, I have about 4 or 5 right now qualifying. That's
Okay.
With income statements and taxes and everything that needs to be reviewed before we can make them eligible.
Okay. And that's still, it's all the dollars spent by the end of 26?
Correct.
Not just committed action. Expend. Okay, great. Any questions on the brownfield grant?
So I included in the packet an update from Dom.
Yep.
There's a couple things that he bolted, which were new from the last update he did. Task 3, letter C. They had met with Steelton last week, and there are going to be some properties that they will be bringing to the meeting next week that they've identified that need some phase ones. I'm just going to go over the new things.
Okay.
Task 2, Lincolnville School. And I spoke with Jill about this yesterday as well, to meet with them. It's moving forward. No real news on that one. Let's see here. And on page 4. So Northern Dauphin, YMCA, they've received results of their radon testing, and that task is now complete. So that's a little bit under budget.
Great.
Eden Village, as was discussed at the last meeting that we had, we are using $8,000 in the EPA funds to do their roadmap, as it was called. And then on the last page, again, it's talking about Sarah SRP grant to the Redevelopment Authority, which I discussed in detail.
Okay.
That's all I have
All
for
right.
that.
Any questions for Deb on the EPA? All right. Not any correspondence, miscellaneous, board comments? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Never say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Adjourn.
How many viewers do we have?
I can tell you.
How many viewers? Live stream. One.